Hey guys, how's it going? Back here on YouTube. It's been a while since I've done my last video, several months now. But it's good to be back on here. I wanted to talk about a little bit about the NBA and this whole China controversy. Obviously, there's been a great deal made about this whole situation with Daryl Morey's tweet. And the thing I don't understand is it's amazing how when the NBA players are asked about morals or Maury's tweet, uh, people are making it seem like this is a complicated issue. Are you in favor of democracy or are you in favor of communism? This isn't complicated stuff. It's really not. And and here's the thing: it wouldn't be that big of a deal from a question standpoint if you know if the players decline to answer the question. They'd be like, fine, whatever. Yeah, but the problem is the NBA has adopted this social justice woke sort of advocacy, if you will, and given itself sort of this beating of the chest. We're superior to the NFL because we let the players have a voice, and we let our guys. We let our players run the league and all this other stuff, but the NFL, they're just it's a dictatorship. Okay, well, if the league didn't adopt that mindset or that mentality, or at least portray themselves that way, I'd be much more willing to give them a pass on this, to say, yeah, they don't really need to speak about this, But since the NBA is so focused on getting involved in political issues, when it comes down to something as simple as, are you in favor of democracy or communism? Now all of a sudden they can't say anything? Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, Adam Silver, all of a sudden they can't say anything? Nothing? And then people want to talk about, they want to talk about, oh well, we shouldn't be getting involved in, how people run their government, or how other, we don't want to get involved in, political issues like that. How people choose to run their government is how they choose to run their government. Okay, that's complete hypocrisy. Because when North Carolina, which I live in the state of North Carolina, when we passed HB2, when we passed the bill banning transgenders from going into whatever bathroom they choose to go into, the bathroom of their choice, all of a sudden the media, social media, goes on this outrage. How could North Carolina do such a thing? So terrible. And Adam Silver chooses to cancel the All-Star game over a bill that was duly voted upon by both Democrats and Republicans. So he cancels the All-Star game to try and make a statement to the state of North Carolina that he won't tolerate the bigotry of North Carolina and what North Carolina is doing. Okay. But it's funny, though, because I don't see him canceling any games in the state of New York over the abortion bill that they just passed, where you can abort your baby in the day before its due date. Really? This is acceptable behavior? Like, it's hypocritical. It is alarmingly hypocritical on the part of Adam Silver. You're getting involved in one political issue, but when it comes down to another political issue, all of a sudden you're silent. If you are really so concerned about what you deem to be true justice, social injustices, there are people in the state of New York who did not want that bill being passed. They are pro-life. There are millions of pro-life people throughout the New England area and throughout New York. But it's amazing, though. Adam Silver wasn't concerned about those people. Clearly not. See, it's all to one side of the aisle. Okay, it's all to one side of the aisle. Adam Silver wants to get involved in one issue politically, but not the other issue politically, because it's all about It's all about pushing leftist narrative and pushing left-wing agendas. But amazingly, though, and I go back to China, amazingly, though, when it comes down to calling out a communist regime, see, Popovich and Kerr are real quick to talk about how Trump is a dictator. Everybody wants to talk about how much of a dictator Trump is. But when it comes down to calling out an actual dictatorship, in a country that is putting Muslims in concentration camps, is executing political adversaries. They're executing people who are fighting against what China's doing and harvesting these people's organs. No, we can't talk about that, though. We can't talk about what's going on in China. Why? The NBA won't talk about any of this stuff because there's too much money involved. And as soon as money starts getting involved, all of a sudden, all the boldness that all these great coaches in the NBA who are just so woke and so in touch with social justice, all of a sudden, they run into they run into a hole and act like complete cowards because it's easy to take shots at Trump because in the end these people are not concerned about Trump actually doing anything to them. Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, they're not concerned about Donald Trump actually causing them any harm, but all of a sudden, no. Like people like LeBron James, they're not concerned about Donald Trump causing them any trouble. But when you go to an actual communist country and deal with actual dictators, all of a sudden people get real scared because you start to see what it's really like when people control your speech. You start to see what it's like when people really do hold the preserving of your life, if you will. They hold the fate of your destiny in their hands. It's not so much fun then, is it? It's not. But once again, let's talk about how bad Trump is. Trump is such a dictator and he's so evil. He's a fascist, all this other stuff. But when we deal with true fascism and true communism, when we deal with this stuff on an international scale, all of a sudden, everyone's boldness quickly goes out the window. Oh, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. That's what LeBron James said last year. Really, LeBron? You're not showing that now. You're not saying anything about China now. I thought you said an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. No. Problem is, your money's on the line. And because your money's on the line, you don't have the guts to stand up and prove what it is you've said you believe in. You can't put your money where your mouth is. So I say all this to say, people need to stop putting all these celebrities up on a pedestal. We stop worshiping these athletes. In the end, they're about the money. They're about retweets and likes and all this other stuff. People, we need to just think for ourselves. Everyone, think for yourself. Okay, the NBA is a business. These people are businessmen and businesswomen. They're pushing an agenda because they want you to buy their stuff. But once again, with this whole China situation, it's a bad look for the NBA. It really is. And I think it's a situation where, I don't see Popovich and Steve Kerr letting up anytime soon when it comes to Donald Trump. But they're being exposed for what they really are. They're cowards. They're phonies. And I think we would all be a lot better off just seeing them for what they are. Whenever people go around dividing everyone on racial lines, talk about how horrible the country is, it doesn't help any of us because we spend our lives living with regret instead of taking life by the horns, saying, I'm going to determine my own destiny, and I'm not going to let the news media or any of these big time athletes who are pampered beyond belief tell me that life sucks and that I can't win. Don't be the kind of person, don't allow these people to turn you into the kind of person that lives the life of regret and frustration, because in the end, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your life. Determine your own destiny, call a spade, and be thankful for the freedom and the democracy that we have here in this country, versus so many of these athletes who are so far removed from reality that they can't understand the privilege that they have to say what they want to say without having to worry about the consequences of what it is they've said and what it is they've tweeted. So thank God we live in the United States. I'm so glad I don't live in China. So glad we're not a communist country, even though the Democrats seem to want to push us there more and more each day. But thank God for democracy. Thank God that we live in the United States. All right, well, guys, that's the end of my video. If you like it, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna try to get on here much more often and post some more videos, especially as we get closer and closer to the next election. And I'll give you my opinion on some of the candidates, as well as whether or not I think Donald Trump has a chance of being reelected. And just have to keep tuning in, and I'll try to get these videos out more consistently. All right, bye.